YouTube's the OG Mr. Mont, back at y'all with another video. Who's the face of boxing? It's $1 million question. Who's the face of boxing? I guess it depends on who you ask. Tank Davis has laid claim to being the face of boxing. He said he is the face of boxing right now. And once he beats Ryan Garcia, he's definitely going to be the face of boxing. What do you think? Well, who are some of the fighters who've been perceived as the face of boxing? You got Tank Davis at this point. You got Errol Spence Jr. And you have Canelo Alvarez. Right now, those are probably the three biggest names in boxing. But I mean, who actually holds the crown? And again, I guess it depends on who all you ask. Tank Davis is definitely up there. And really ain't nobody else doing anything right now to lay claim to the face of boxing. And in my opinion, Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia doesn't make him the face of boxing. His popularity could possibly make him the face of boxing, because Ryan Garcia he hasn't proven anything. So fighting Ryan Garcia definitely, in my opinion, wouldn't make Tank Davis the face of boxing. It's just, Tank Davis' status at this point could possibly make him the face of boxing. Now, Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia is a big fight. Financially. Matchup-wise, I think it's a bad matchup. I'll continue to say that Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia is a bad matchup. It's just one man's opinion, but that's how I feel about it. But Ryan Garcia is an internet star, social media star. He got 9 million followers on social media, but that's where his popularity comes from. And now that you got hype on his name, not because of all the spectacular things he's done in the ring, just basically because he's finna fight Tank Davis. Yeah, it's a little hype around Ryan Garcia, but he ain't fought nobody. And truth be told, Tank Davis hadn't fought the best competition either. Especially when you got guys like Devin Haney out there. It's several guys that Ryan Garcia can't hold a counter to in the lightweight division, like Lomachenko, Frank Martin, Shakur Stevenson, who just made it to the division, and Devin Haney. And you could take the guy that Lomachenko just fought, Jermaine Ortiz. Those guys, in my opinion, are better than Ryan Garcia. But again, Ryan Garcia has that status, and people are hyping him up as if he's this, like he's done so much in boxing. And don't get me wrong, Ryan Garcia can fight. He can fight. I mean, he definitely a better fighter than I am. I can't box. But he's not on the level of Tank Davis. I mean, in my opinion. So, if Tank beats him, you know, does that make him the face of boxing? In my opinion, it's not whether he beats him or not. It's whether, well, yeah, he has to get the victory. But if Tank Davis do buku numbers on the pay-per-view, it's possible. It's possible that he's the face of boxing. But you still got Canelo Alvarez out there, who has a dedicated, huge, entire fan base of Mexicans, and they loyal to him. Has Tank Davis overtaken Canelo Alvarez? Yeah. You know, Canelo Alvarez has had some big fights. He done fought some good competition, but he's also fought a bunch of nobodies. And I hate to call these fighters nobodies, but, you know, he's done fought a bunch of guys that, you know, people knew he was going to beat. So, you know, it's up in the air whether Canelo Alvarez still holds the title of being the face of boxing. But again, he does have a huge, huge fan base. And whenever he fights, they show up and show out. So is he still the face of boxing? I mean, who knows? Then you got Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. hadn't fought in a year this month. And, you know, at this point, people are growing tired of him and Terrence Bud Crawford's toxic saga, because the entire negotiations and everything leading up to them negotiating a fight has been toxic. The fans have been toxic. So you know, can Errol Spence Jr. claim the crown of being the face of boxing? It's possible if him and Terrence Bud Crawford make this fight. But it got to be next. I don't think people will forgive them if they don't fight next. And I still think, you know, at this point, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia is a huge fight. But I still don't think it's a bigger fight than Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. But right now, at this very moment, it's the biggest fight that we got going on. But I think if they were to announce Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford right now, it'll overtake that. Mainly because real boxing fans know that Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford is a more competitive fight. And with this fight, if Errol Spence Jr. wins it, he definitely can claim being the face of boxing. But right now, I mean, who can really dispute Tank Davis? He's a star. It's just that simple. He's a star. So, you know, at this very moment, Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia is all people are talking about. They're not really talking about Canelo Alvarez versus John Ryder. People are not talking about Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford, because people are tired of that, tired of this mess that they got going on. Everybody talking about Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. So at this very moment, I would say that Tank Davis is the face of boxing. Going into the fight with Ryan Garcia, and probably shortly thereafter. Now, like I said, if Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford make that fight, and it does big numbers, yeah, we'll just have to see. Tank Davis brings a different type of excitement, to his fights. He brings out all the stars. Errol Spence Jr. brings out all the stars. Canelo Alvarez brings out the stars. So, all three of those guys have that in common. But like I said, Tank Davis, he brings out a different type of excitement to boxing, because of at any second he can knock you out cold. It's just that simple. People love that. So, like I said, at this point, yeah, Tank Davis right now is the face of boxing, in my opinion. But how long can he hold that title? And like I said, it just depends on if Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford make their fight, and Errol Spence Jr. wins, then he'll be the face of boxing, in my opinion. Canelo Alvarez, I think, is on his way out. The guy has, I don't know how many fights. He's getting a little long in the tooth, as boxers stand. He's been fighting since he was 15 years old. He's in his 30s now, mid-30s, I think, early to mid-30s. And I just think he's on his way out, but he still has a massive fan base. But I don't think he's any longer the face of boxing. I think right now that title at this very moment belongs to Gervonta Tank Davis. But we'll just have to wait and see within the next 4 or 5 months, depending on whether Errol Spence Jr. gets the fight between him and Bud Crawford negotiated. But we'll just have to wait and see. But you guys tell me what you think down in the comment section. It's the OG Mr. Mont. Salute to the mighty LDBC, and I'm out.